Assalamu alaikum everyone. So as discussed in the group, I'm giving a try to make a audio-based presentation slides for your understanding and for your review, so that you see it. If it is okay with you and you everyone among you agree with it, so we can proceed with it. So for this test lecture, I have selected only one slide based on the selection process, which we have previously discussed in the class as well. So for a quick review, I will just move around to the other slide and discuss it. Okay, so as we know that after the long listing of the applications that are received, we do the initial screening. We may ask them for the completion of their application forms and all that has been discussed previously in the lecture. Those candidates who do not complete the minimum qualification or they are straight away rejected. So after that, those candidates who successfully complete or meet the minimum qualification as per the job specification, they are asked for entrance into the selection process and their applications are entertained accordingly. Now, if you see and look over here in this diagram, uh, it is not necessary that we follow all those steps. It depends specifically on the organization, the nature of the organization, the budget of the organization, and also the time frame they have for the fulfillment of this requirement of selecting a right candidate. Now, you can see the third step is of employment test. Maybe if the candidates are too much or if it is required and designed by the HR department, so we will opt for the test. If it is not the case, or for the positions that are of the top management or of the middle management, we may not proceed with the employment test and we will go for the interviews or some alternative methods of selection process. So maybe we ask them, but if we look at the current scenario and we discuss the banking sector in Pakistan, or we discuss the public sector organizations in Pakistan, or more conveniently, the universities where they appoint a fresh lecturer. For that, they opt for the test. The reason of it is because there are too many candidates we cannot accommodate in the interviews. So we have to test them initially for the screening purpose, which should be relevant as we discussed previously, that there must be a validity and reliability of those selection processes that we choose. So in that case, if the employment test is taken, it can be any type of a test that we will discuss in detail later on. For example, we can take analytical test from them. We can take subject related tests from them. We can take other different sort of personality tests and psychomotor skills test or problem based tests. It can be anything, or a journal test, for example. Also, if they fail the test, they will be rejected, and if they pass, they will go one step ahead in the screening process or the selection process. Now, in that scenario, sometimes we take their interviews. Maybe we do not take their interviews or conduct their interviews. We go for the group discussions. Maybe we go for the simulators or ask them a certain other task to be performed. That can be a work sample test. Anything can be done. We already discussed the comprehensive interviews that we take. There are different types of interviews which we already discussed. This can be a one-to-one interview, one-to-many interview, and many-to-many interviews, depends on the requirement. And we also discussed the pros and cons of each and every interview process. Now, those people who are successful in the interviews, we call them who complete this process and cycle, the top candidates among them are given a conditional job offer. Maybe that is not a conditional job offer. Maybe you give a direct job offer to the candidate who is on the top of the merit list. So that is one scenario. Somehow, some people do not go for the conditional job offer, but they go for the further assessment. They check their references, they do their background check, they do their experience check, they confirm and validate their degrees, their experience certificates, and some of the jobs which are related to physical requirements. They go for the physical examination, physical test, medical test, they go for the drug test. It depends on the organization and their requirements. So they can move along and they can shuffle these steps as they want. So after these interviews, maybe the interviews take steps in different levels. Now, for example, we take the we take a lecturer's demo, and then after the demo, you go for the initial interview, or with the heads interview, which is a subject specialists are there in the interview. Then after that, we go for the panel interview, and then after that, the job offer is made. However, now the conditional job offer, if you look at this word, this is a conditional job offer where we have not discussed the terms yet. We have not reached to the agreement. Maybe that agreement is on the basis of the workload. Maybe it is on the basis of the uh, uh, points mentioned in the job description, in their duties and responsibilities. Maybe they want to negotiate the salary at this point. Maybe that is regarding the timing or the transport thing. So we are giving them the offer. They will come and we will discuss. So in the final interview, what happens is that the candidate and the management or the concerned people in the organization, they sit together and they try to reach to the consensus. Once the consensus is reached, we provide them with a permanent job offer. This is called a job offer in the shape of a job offer letter that can be in person, that can be through a letter on their given addresses, or it can be through email. Now, what the candidate has to do is he or she may uh, want to respond to it. They can respond immediately, or they can respond in a time frame given to them, which can be 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month time period, because the department or the organization must have to take a decision. That decision can be whether if that person disagree or he is not or she is not willing to join the organization, so they should opt and do not waste time in agreeing or communicating to the other person who is on the second position in the merit list, and so on. So if that person agrees for the job, he or she may come come up with the job acceptance letter. Now, that job acceptance letter is one thing. There is another type of a letter which is called arrival report. Now, arrival report is something which is also known as a joining report. So you accept and you may give a terms and conditions. Terms and conditions are that I may serve my notice period in the other organization where that candidate is permanently or currently working. So that person has to resign from there, serve a notice period, which is normally of 1 month or 30 days, whatsoever it is. So for that, they may require a time. So from the day on which he or she comes to the organization with a motive to work, that is actually uh, a second type of a letter, which is known as arrival report. So, with that, a person joins the organization and the selection process ends. Now, I want you people to go through this lecture, test lecture actually, and see if it is okay and we may proceed with it. Thank you.